Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. We are at the south end of the Vegas Strip. Going to take a walk up the strip. We'll get partway up when the sun rises. Right now it's right about 5 a.m. Sunrise in about 40 minutes. This is the good part of the day to walk the Vegas Strip. Right now it's about 80 degrees, maybe a little under 80 degrees. It's going to get much, much hotter later today. Right now, not too bad out here. Just to give you a little bit of a sense for what we're going to be doing, we're just going to be walking up the strip, let you see some of the sights, see what it looks like when there are not a lot of people around at 5 a.m. At this hour, it is not hard to figure out which are the people who are still up versus the people who are already up. Pretty clear line there. We'll start walking up the strip, and I'll let you know a little bit about what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be seeing. The Vegas Strip is Las Vegas Boulevard. It runs about 4 miles. We are at the southern end of it right now. We'll be walking up at least most of it. We'll see if we make it all the way up. You probably don't know about the Las Vegas Strip is 0% of the Las Vegas Strip is in Las Vegas. This is all stuff that was unincorporated and now has different area names, town names, but none of this is actually in Las Vegas. Las Vegas city limits start about 4.5 miles north of here. The Vegas Strip runs from here, basically, up to Sahara Boulevard, which was the former home of the Sahara Casino. When you're in Vegas, a lot has changed over the years. A lot of the names are of roads, are names of casinos that used to be here. The Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign got put up in 1959 and was kind of out in the middle of nowhere when they put it up, and now has become one of the most famous and popular landmarks in Las Vegas. Las Vegas has, in addition to casinos, lots of different stuff for people to do. Lots of shows, including an incredible assortment of, oh yeah, that guy kind of performers. Also some museums and halls of fame and stuff like that. That is the Pinball Hall of Fame across the street. Las Vegas is also, of course, famous for both weddings and divorces, and not just being the cause of those. The Little Church of the West Wedding Chapel is across the street. It is one of several wedding chapels here. Sometimes the site of some impulsive decisions. But 60 or 70 years ago, before no-fault divorce was a common thing in a lot of places, you could come to Vegas or Reno, stay here for 6 weeks, establish residency, and then file for a no-fault divorce. It is something that drew a lot of people out here at one point. Just sort of see the sun starting to peek up behind the mountains out there to the east on the other side of Las Vegas Boulevard. The strip of palm trees in the middle of the Vegas Strip. One of those iconic sights from Vegas. Now we're coming up on the first casino on the south end of the Strip. That's the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. And just past that, the Mandalay Bay Casino. That is the southernmost casino on the Strip. And again, we're still about 4 miles from the actual Las Vegas city limits. And business is about to pick up around here. We'll have a lot more stuff to see. We're getting into the busy part of the Strip already. places like McDonald's have big flashing animated signs. Here we are at the first casino on the strip. There's Mandalay Bay. You can see a lot more coming up here very soon. Sign advertising all sorts of different acts that are playing shows here. A lot of names that are probably names you heard 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Lenny Kravitz, the Blue Man Group, Carrot Top. Them playing Vegas now. We are walking up the west side is across the street. We're still probably about 25 or so minutes from official sunrise here, but definitely see the sky getting brighter off to the east. Up here and give you a quick look at one of the main entrances of Mandalay Bay. which you can see on that sign across the street, have made an attempt to make Vegas a little more family friendly, give you something to do other than drink and gamble. They have an exhibit for King Tut, they have an exhibit about bodies, they have an exhibit about the Titanic. Next casino here on the left is the Luxor. It's an Egyptian-themed casino and hotel, as you can probably guess by the pyramid and enormous sphinx. Pretty much all of these are casino hotels. You'll have the casino on the ground floor and then hotel rooms above. We'll get a better look at the Luxor in a minute. There's a look at the Luxor. It's an enormous sphinx and big pyramid. They used to have a big light on the top of that they would shoot up into the sky. I don't know if that's something that they only do at certain hours a day, or if they don't do that anymore. But that used to be up there. Esports. There's the Hyper Esports Arena. If you don't know what esports is, basically a fancy way of saying competitive video games. And if you look across the street, there's still not a lot over there, a lot of vacant land, which is going to stop in just a minute. We're going to get up to the first casino on the right side of the street in just 1 minute here. One last look at the Luxor. And as I said, a lot of these shows out here are nostalgia acts from 30 or so years ago. Can't tell if that's Tobias Funke there on the top one or not. mile north of where we started. This is Reno Avenue. As we cross Reno Avenue, we get to the Excalibur. A lot of these hotels and casinos have theming. I mentioned the Egyptian theming of the Luxor earlier. This one, if you know your history or your legends, of course, King Arthur themed. Right, something you've seen in Las Vegas seemingly for decades. Construction cranes on the horizon. This is a city that has not stopped building at any point in the last 30 or 40 years, it seems. Excalibur, somewhat unsurprisingly, is what looks like a medieval times themed show. As we know, there were no spoons in medieval times, therefore there are no spoons at medieval times, but they do have Pepsi. There's a deep cut for you. There's a tram that runs up and down Las Vegas Boulevard, getting you from one casino to the other so you don't have to walk in the 100+ degree heat later in the day. Not a bad walk right now. Later in the day, yeah, maybe not. That tram does not seem to be running yet this morning. Now we're getting into the busy part of the strip. This is Tropicana Avenue here. We're gonna have to go up and over to cross the street here. Give you a look up here. New York, New York on the left, the MGM on the right. intersection that they've got those bridges you can cross without having to slow down traffic. You can probably figure out the theming for the New York hotel without me having to tell you. So instead, I will tell you that Tropicana Avenue, this is where the Las Vegas A's, formerly the Oakland A's, currently the Don't Call Us Sacramento A's, the baseball team, they're planning to build a stadium here. They've talked about it for quite a while. That's been the plan for quite a while. They haven't actually done it yet. They haven't actually made any real progress yet, but if it does happen, this is where it's going to happen. There's about a 35-acre site on the other side of Las Vegas Boulevard where that's going to go. West on Tropicana Avenue, which of course is named for the legendary Tropicana Casino, one of the old school casinos in Las Vegas. There's New York, New York. Big roller coaster here. That is where I believe that ballpark is supposed to go. We'll see if it is here the next time we're out here. Now we'll head back down the escalator, back to Las Vegas Boulevard. As you can see, the sun really getting close to poking up behind that. Behind there, about 10 minutes to sunrise right now. And there's a lot more traffic now than there was earlier this morning. MGM Casino across the street. You see the famous MGM Lions. You have probably heard them roar before movies before. Compared it to Times Square earlier, there is quite a bit of overlap there. In terms of the stores, the signage, all of that. Lots of touristy stuff here. Different stores themed with TV shows, candy brands, and all that kind of stuff. There is a Stranger Things official store up there on the second floor. Below a location of Michael Scott's favorite New York pizza joint. lot of these other sports venues, mentioned the Athletics Potential Park being on the Strip. A lot of the other sports venues, including T-Mobile Arena and Allegiant Stadium, which is of course the home of the Las Vegas Raiders, that's just a couple blocks to the west. Sort of see the signage for T-Mobile Arena through the trees there. That's the home of the WNBA team, among other tenants. Should be the home of the Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey team as well.
Wait.
Park MGM Hotel. Across the street, Coca-Cola store, Hard Rock Cafe. In case you thought I was kidding when I said lots of touristy stuff here. Unsurprisingly, for a touristy destination like this. Get it? Do you get it? I think they sell Italian food. Mentioned the McDonald's with the big flashing animated sign. CVS Pharmacy also getting into the big flashing animated sign game. Gotta do something to get attention around here. There's a lot going on even at 5:30 a.m. Waldorf Astoria here. This is another spot where we're gonna have to go away from the Strip to cross the street. We're at Aria right now. Aria is named after a hotel that is on this street. The Aria Resort and Casino. See the sunrise on the other side. 2 minutes from actual sunrise, but maybe a little longer before you actually see the sun because it's behind those mountains and also behind a bunch of casinos. Casinos are not the only way to leave a lot of money here in Las Vegas. You can tell based on the number of luxury brands that you see with locations here. Planet Hollywood across the street. Speaking of 1990s institutions. Grand and the Hollywood Casino coming up on another of the themed casinos. We'll get to that in a minute. Ad on the billboard across the street. She is currently playing Allegiant Stadium this week. If you're in need of a Louis V fix, they've got you covered here. Some of the more family-friendly stuff, the Museum of Illusions there. Let's just take a little peek around the corner here and then we'll go up. Back up and over. Then back and grab the stairs up over there. Now in the 3700 block of South Las Vegas Boulevard on the Strip. Walking up and down the Strip is not as easy as just following the sidewalk. There's a lot of twists and turns and stairs and escalators and pedestrian bridges and all that. above the street level. You can see the Planet Hollywood Hotel across the street. Down the stairs back to street level. More than halfway up the strip right now. As I said before, it's a little over 4 miles from end to end. A couple of recognizable places up here. Bellagio right there on the left, and on the right, Paris. Not the real Eiffel Tower, but just eyeballing it, it looks like it's probably about the same height as the real deal. Just like the real Eiffel Tower, it has a restaurant. Eiffel Tower has the Jules Verne restaurant. That's at the top. This one's a little more in the middle. It might not be, the Jules Verne might not be open anymore. I feel like I heard that at some point. It wasn't there anymore. Bellagio on the left. It's known for its famous fountain, which has a show that starts at the top and bottom of every hour. We are unfortunately not here at the top or bottom of every hour, so it's just kind of a pond right now. They have there's a very impressive themed show set to music with the fountains. Go off at the top and bottom of every hour. We're talking to one of the locals on the plane who said it's also nice because when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, it will spray you with mist and keep you cool in the middle of the day. But if you remember the end of Ocean's 11 where they're standing and watching the big fountain show. Sorry, spoiler alert for a movie that came out 25 years ago. But that is right here. There's another look at the Eiffel Tower at the Paris Casino. A lot has changed about Vegas in the last 20 years or so. One of them is they have an NHL team now. You can see the Vegas Golden Knights advertised on the side of the city bus there. On a couple of more famous and well-established brands in the Vegas market. Caesar's Palace. It's one that I'm sure a lot of folks will recognize a name. Of course, a Roman-themed casino. You had the Egyptians earlier. You had the French. You had the New Yorkers. Got to give the Romans their time. And on the right, Horseshoe. The Flamingo, another very well-known old-school Vegas location. We're at Flamingo Road, coincidentally, right by the Flamingo Hotel and Casino. Again, that's a classic Vegas location. There's a lot that's changed around here, but you also have some of the classics. Treasure Island, the Flamingo, Circus. Go inside here. Yes, we do, to go inside to get up there. Most places have had at least stairs outside, if not escalators. This one does not. Crossing Flamingo. All right, crossing Flamingo now. There is Caesar's Palace on your left. See the sun shining on the mountains way down there, which means it is coming up somewhere behind those casinos on the right. Back down to street level. Sparrow earlier, now you got your Giordano's. You can have your New York versus Chicago style pizza debate all right here in Las Vegas. Not the Bellagio fountain, but something it is at least going off right now. In the words of the great Mitch Hedberg, escalators can never be broken, they can just become stairs. You can see the sun just starting to peek up on the front of that Caesar's Palace building. There's the Flamingo again, and I said it was kind of old school Vegas, just in case you didn't believe me. Yes, you can see that billboard behind the palm trees. Yes, that is Wayne Newton playing the Flamingo. Classics never go out of style. There you go, there's a look. Caesar's Palace, quite an expansive hotel and casino setup. Got some nice fountains in front there. Roman themed statuary. Lots of celebrity chefs have places here as well. There's Gordon Ramsay. There was a Giada De Laurentiis place about a half a block back. Up on Caesar's Palace Road. And across the street there, you can see the sign for In-N-Out Burger, a Western U.S. staple. Of it as a California place, but it's up in Oregon and it's out in Texas and here in Las Vegas as well. Be a little trip up here to look at some of the more of the Caesar's Palace theming here. Magicians here as well. David Copperfield has a show. Matt Franco, who won America's Got Talent, he's got a show here. Here on the right is Harrah's Casino. Of Donny Osmond's show. big construction site up here on the left. Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. We're about 3/4 of the way through our walk up the strip. About 3 miles north of that Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign. Got the Venetian back there. A little bit more of a modern Italian themed hotel and casino. There's Madame Tussauds. Wax Museum, they've got those all over the place. They have them in London and in New York. Lots of a popular touristy spot. World famous Wax Museum. Just sort of see through there, they're building the new Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Now we're in a pedestrian walkway underneath a scaffolding so that pieces of that don't fall on us. It's the Venetian. Let's see. The tower there is a copy of the tower in St. Mark's Square in the actual Venice. And the theming of that building matches some of the buildings along the Grand Canal in Venice. The bridge matches the actual bridge at the south end of the Grand Canal in Venice. They do a good job with the theming around here. What you can see here is out with the old and in with the new. A lot of the classic Vegas places have been demolished and replaced with shiny new Vegas places. That was the Mirage. As you can see, a little homage to the Mirage. That will now be the Hard Rock. Real old school Vegas place, Treasure Island. Walgreens sign, they know where they are. The sign says, long night last night. They are here to help. Probably with some headache remedies. We're coming up on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Palazzo. And there's the Treasure Island to the left. still quite pleasant this morning. Obviously no humidity here in Las Vegas, and it's in the high 70s at the moment. There's the Palazzo, for which Palazzo Drive is named. Thank you for sticking with us. We're more than an hour into our walk, more than 3 miles into our 4-mile and some change walk up the Strip. Some Treasure Island theming for you. Not quite on the scale of some of the modern places, but a Vegas classic nonetheless. Coming up on the Sands. That was, of course, named after the famous Sands Casino. One of the truly original Vegas casinos. That's one of those Rat Pack places from the Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin era of Las Vegas. Need to shout out Sammy Davis Jr. and, of course, Joey Bishop, the Ringo Starr of the Rat Pack. We gotta cross the street again. See the sun now shining on the mountains out there. The Wynn across the street and the Encore. Back at the Palazzo. And the sun is up behind those hotels. You can see it shining on the mountains back there. You can't see it from here. Trump Hotel. I already used my Mitch-Hedberg joke. Cowboys running back in. Smith has his own restaurant here. Here you can see the sun poking up. Go. There's your sunrise over the Vegas Boulevard, just as promised. Strip and Fashion Show Drive and the Blue Main Gate. And steel construction here in Vegas, which in a place where it'll get to be 110 degrees during the summer is definitely a choice you could make. Sunrise over the Vegas Strip. enormous parking lot, if you're wondering what was behind that wall we were walking past for the last few minutes. There's the Hilton up there. Started at the Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign, and there's a copy of it there, over there on the store across the street. As you can tell, we're kind of getting out of the busiest section of the strip, the most densely populated portion of the strip. Convention center's over there. It's gonna be hard to see because of the sunrise. Still have a little more to go, including a